questions in transformation, it's very important to understand the sequence of transformation. Okay, so the sequence of transformation is important. Now, before we dive into the question, there are two kinds of sequence that we need to talk about. So the first one is when we are doing on the inside, for example, f of ax plus b. When we want to do anything on the inside, it is important to translate first. So make it to become x plus b first. Then after that, then you scale f of ax plus b, because if you make any change to the x, it's going to affect the whole bracket. Okay, so we always translate before scale for anything that got to do with inside. But if it has anything that got to do with outside, for example, like a f x plus b, this is called anything got to do on the outside, we have to scale before translate. Do the scaling a f x first, then you do a of fx plus b. Okay, so it's important to understand, am I doing on the inside or am I doing on the outside? Okay, so for this question, all the points are given to you. So first, I'm just going to dive in talking about a. We are looking for y equals to f of x plus 1 plus 4. So we are doing two things actually over here. We are doing on the inside and doing on the outside. Your original equation is fx. So from fx, it doesn't matter whether we are doing on inside or outside first. So I prefer to do the one that is on the inside first. So for this, what is the transformation? It is a translation of -1 unit along the x-axis, If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go to the previous video on the basics of transformation to be sure of what you are doing. Okay, then from f of x plus 1 to become fx plus 1 plus 4. Now we are adding 4 on the outside. It is a translation of 4 units. Translate 4 units along the y-axis. Okay, so some of your schools may talk about a factor of 4, a factor of -1, and then that's okay as well. Okay, so first you must know these two very well. If you do not know, please go to the previous video. And now if I am going to transform the original graph to a new graph, now if I translate -1 units along the x-axis, what happens to my a? It will become -1, 0. And then I add 4 along the y-axis. So a is now going to be here, -1, 4. Okay. Now I look at C. Okay, chronological order. Look at the x, -1, that will be 9. Then I translate 4 units along the y-axis. So I'm going to get C, which is at here. That will be 9 because my x I -1 unit and I add 4, so this will be -96. Okay, and then my b must be on the same vertical line as my a, so b would be 20 minus 1, that will be 19, 4 as well, because I translate by 4 units. And now that you have the shape, you have the important points. Be careful, this will not go through 0 anymore because the whole graph has already moved up. So if you find that you have problems like drawing a nice U shape, okay, in this case it's not very good as well because it's not symmetrical. It's important that, okay, I'm going to draw the U shape first, then I label the points. Also can, something like this. Okay, I know that this is going to cause me a little bit of trouble, so I can draw from this side and then I already go up here. Be careful, my A must be on the same vertical line as my B. So this is -1, 4. And this is how you do a transformation with inside and outside, both translating. Okay, so this is called both translating. Okay, now I'm going to talk about B, where we are doing y equals to fx. The first part I'm going to translate first. So if I translate first, I will have x minus 1. And what is the transformation? I'm translating 1 unit along the x-axis. Again, if you do not understand what I'm talking about, please watch the previous video. And then I go to f of 2x minus 1. This would be a scale of half units along the x-axis as well, okay, along x-axis as well. Now, can you do scale before translate? So if you are going to do scale before translate, right, it is going to look like this. So if fy equals to fx, I'm going to do scale first, f2x. Okay, now if I go and do f2x and I want to make achieve of y equals to 2x minus 1, be careful, the x must have a bracket. So this will become f of 2 bracket, you have to use x minus half instead and not x minus 1, such that the 2 will multiply here and here, it will become f of 2x minus 1. So if you are forced in some circumstances where you have to do scale before translate, be mindful that the 2 will affect whatever constants that you are introducing to the x. Okay, so for this case, if I want to draw a sketch of the graph above, I am looking at the x at a 0 0. Translate 1 unit along x-axis. Now it will become 1 comma 0 and then scale half unit. So it will actually, a will now become half comma 0 because this will move forward 1 0 and then scale, so half comma 0. Okay, this guy will move forward, will become 11 comma negative 100, then scale half unit 11 over 2, and we are talking about the x-axis only, so it doesn't affect the y, negative 100. Okay, and then for this guy, this will be 21 over 2 comma 0. I move right by 1 unit and then I scale half along the x-axis. So again, just like in the previous part, I told you it's better to draw the U shape first and then now I label 21 over 2 comma 0, as well as the c over here, that will be 11 over 2 comma negative 100. Okay, so this part very important is for translate. Always translate before scale if you are doing on the inside. If you have to do scale before translate, then be careful when you introduce the constant there, plus whatever minus whatever, the constant in front of the a will affect the whole thing. Okay, and lastly, I'm just going to talk about e. Okay, so e is talking about y equals to negative 3fx plus 1. In actual fact, this is talking about tree transformation. Okay, tree transformation. My fx first becomes negative fx. Okay, so what is this? This is a reflection. Okay, and we are reflecting the y value, so we are reflecting on the x-axis. The x-axis is my mirror, so it's actually kind of flipped downwards. Okay, followed by negative 3fx. So if we are doing on the outside, we have to scale first before we translate. So this will be a scale of 3 units along the x-axis, along y-axis, because we are doing on the outside. Okay, then lastly, I have negative 3fx plus 1. So this case, I am going to translate 1 unit along the y-axis because it's on the outside. Okay, yeah, so for this case, if you are doing fully on the outside, we have to scale before translation first. Okay, so this graph is going to look like this. Now we are reflecting on the y-axis, so it means that the graph is going to flip this way. Okay, my a and b is not affected, only the c is now going to be 10 comma 100. Okay, so if you have in mind something like this, it's good. If not, you can draw it out, it's totally fine as well. Now we scale 3 units along the y-axis, means all the y coordinates multiply by 3. So again, because the y of a is 0, the y of b is 0, it doesn't affect, only the y of c will now become 300. Okay, so you can just change it like this. And then you are translating 1 unit along the y-axis, means the whole graph is going to move up by 1 unit. You can draw the graph first, and then now you have to know where your a is. So this is a, 0, 1. This is c, which is 110, 301, and this is b over here, which is 20, 1. Okay, so when you scale something with the y coordinates being 0, right, it will not affect the y coordinates still. Okay, it's just a reflection of the graph, okay, but if you translate all the coordinates with along the y-axis, all the y coordinates will plus 1. Maybe I can do one more, which is talking about y equals to, okay, I'm just going to use red, y equals to f of 1 minus x. Again, this is doing on the inside. So my starting is at y equals to fx. I will translate first, x minus 1. Okay, so if I have x minus 1, then this is going to be a translation of 1 unit along x axis. Okay, followed by, now I reflect f of negative x minus 1. So this will be a reflection on the y-axis because I'm reflecting all the positive x values to the negative side. Okay, so how will the graph look like? So first, you can translate first before you reflect, then erase it away. So I'm going to teach you this way. So I'm going to move all my coordinates of A, B, and C. So A is going to be here, B is going to be here, as well as C is going to be here. This is 1, 0 because I translate 1 unit, 21, 0, as well as 11, negative 100. Okay, so now I'm going to reflect on the y-axis, means I flip to the left. Okay, my final answer is going to be this way. And now you have to draw this. Okay, so not everything can be done in your mind. It's good to draw out how does things look like to help you achieve 100% of what it's going to be like. Okay, so your A is reflected here. So A is going to be here now, negative 1, 0. B is going to be here, negative 21, 0. And then C is going to be here, negative 11, negative 100. If you're not very sure about what the negative x inside and what the negative of the fx outside do, please refer to the previous video again. And these few examples is good enough for you to understand sequence of transformation before you do any questions.